Welcome to the Zesty Ginger podcast. We are Megan and Dr. Alex. We are here for transformation. Yours, ours, and the collective. Personal and professional for practitioners. But not just any transformation. Compassionate transformation. Because between the two of us, we have seemed to have done things the painful way. Let our pitfalls become your stepping stones. We aren't afraid to share our raw and vulnerable truths in order to help you transform your thinking, your body, your heart, and your soul. Combining 15 years of functional medicine with brain-based habit change to lead you to the best life possible in a compassionate way. Compassion, yes, yet plan to roll up your sleeves. Transformation requires your participation. And a quick reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor, not this doctor, before making changes. Now let's get into the episode. Hello, this is Dr. Alex. I wanted to take one little moment to invite you to the opening of our Health Transformation Accelerator program, and it is open right now. It is open for a limited period of time because we open it twice a year. It is our 12-week transformational program. You can use it for any transformation you want to undergo, whether you are starting out still working on your health or you have healed and you are on your next mission to help heal the world. We got you. It is for you. So check out the link down in the show notes. You can also just go straight to zestyginger.com/transformation. You can read all of the amazingness that is included in it, exactly what we're going to be doing for the 12 weeks. And you can even listen to and see the real transformational stories of the people that have gone through it. Now, we do have the opportunity to hop on the phone with someone that has been in the program. So reach out to us, shoot us an email if that is something that you are interested, and we will get you the links to hop on the schedule for that. Also, we have amazing bonuses happening each day. So it behooves you to join as early as possible because you get all the bonuses then. But no matter when you're coming in, we'll be announcing on Instagram. So go to zesty_ginger and follow us over there. Turn on your notifications for the account because then we're going to be announcing all of the amazing bonuses so that you make sure you don't miss out on them. We are going to be so excited to start here shortly, and we would love to see you there as well. We can't wait to support you all in your transformations because we know what that's going to create in the world. It creates magic, it creates healing, it creates wholeness, and that is more of what we need. So that is what we're going to do. We invite you to come on over, go to zestyginger.com/transform to sign up, and we will see you there. Hi everybody, we're going to do live hot seat coaching today with my girl Stella. She's one of our clients and is a coach and a leader and someone who wants to make the world a better place. And since that is what we're all about, obviously, then we are going to get right into it. So everything and anything is on there. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, thank you for having
Hi
me.
Stella, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to do some, yeah, it's perfect. We're going to
All
do hot seat
right.
coaching, and because it's the lunchtime hour, let's just get right into it. So what are you bringing to me today? Now, just so everybody knows, I have no idea what Stella's going to talk to me about today. This is not, I don't have notes, I don't have a pre-plan.
Well,
This
yeah,
is
and
real-time coaching. This is
okay.
what it looks
So
like.
what do I want to talk about? Yes, this is absolutely real time. I have been actually reflecting myself and
I
trying
love
to
it.
decide like what is it that I want to work on? So many things have come up since in these past few days, and I feel completely
I love that.
sure that this just is the storm before it breaks through. Um, yeah, even like
I
coming to
love
trying to get
that.
on
That
this
is
live, I
often the
actually am
case.
on from my phone. I thought I could get on from the computer. And with all of that commotion, that's how, like, temporarily I was locked out of my account, but I recovered and here we are. So, resilience, we have that.
Good.
But
Yeah, that's
Um,
amazing.
and I have been applying. I'll first just say that
Mm-hmm.
I've been
Oh,
applying the
amazing.
things that were pointed out and made shining clear for me in the workshop that I took part in, the VIP. Yes,
Yeah, and the three-part training, you have anyone who's listening along, y'all got the invite for the three-part training for success habits. And then you all had the option to join the VIP, and Stella was one of the people that joined the VIP. And so there was special, we did a real-time hypnosis, we did real-time subconscious reprogramming, we had Q&A, so Stella got coaching on. And so now this is the new more
exactly.
aligned, more empowered Stella that's coming on. So I love that you brought that up. That's the setup and the foundation. Now, if you've been tracking along on the podcast, obviously you've been participating in the training portion and going throughout we've gotten your workbooks and all of that good
Yeah, it
stuff.
has. And
So yeah, it's been an eventful week,
so
hasn't it?
I
So
I had
now
asked
what has
for
happened?
help on how I could know or open the doors to abundance, financial abundance, because I already know how to do things free of charge. But I recognize that, as you pointed out, like
Yes. Ooh,
knowledge needs to be
ooh.
received, have its energetic yes. And so when that, yeah, and so that when
Applic
that is not,
yeah.
when that link is
Application.
missing,
Hmm.
I recognize that, like, yeah, it just keeps you at a certain level. And I'm like, okay, yeah, the result as well as
The
mentality of
results
the people
don't
that you
flow.
attract.
Hmm.
Because,
Oh, yeah. Actually, tell me a little bit about what's happening there, because we'll know,
yeah.
everybody here is a pro at projection is perception is projection, and our community knows about that
So,
and has an understanding.
over
So,
the
what are you
past,
seeing in
um,
I'm
uh, okay. Yeah, so
sorry,
over the
Stella,
past, I
my
would
app
say
cut
two
out for a
years, I
second.
have
Can you say
been,
that again?
I have started my own business, but never really took action, you could say. I was just allowing
Hmm.
the universe and totally trusting, and that was great, and it's going well.
Okay. Mm.
There is a abundance flowing in there, but I was like, wait a
Hmm.
minute, like I
Awesome.
let the, which you pointed out was,
Sweet.
it was, you shed some beautiful light on the fact that I was thinking that, or my limiting belief was that I needed a website to be able to share what I do with people, because I want to do more than just
Hmm.
share Bach flower remedies and do consultations for, because I'm based in Turkey, and so for people who are
Yeah.
in other countries, I can do a
Hmm.
consultation and they can get their own remedies and make their own mixtures at this point. But I wanted to take it beyond that, and I kept
Hmm.
telling myself, well, I need to have a website. But you pointed out that if you make a website when you're not
Hmm.
completely clear on what you want to share, yeah, who you're talking to and what you're going to share.
Who you're talking to. Well, that's your the how what kind of people were showing up? What kind
Well,
of
the
requests
people
were they
that
making?
most,
Like
like
what in the
within my
clients
business,
you
the
mentioned the
most people
people.
that I have gotten have been local. And I'm actually not just, I mean, with the Bach flowers at this point, because I am
Okay.
located currently in Turkey, although planning a move to the US soon.
Hmm.
Um, at this point, they're
Hmm.
located here, and it's more word of mouth, or someone will tell someone else, and and then I just tell them on the spot. But
Hmm.
when it came down
Gotcha.
to actually connecting, and I've done a few
So,
consultations, they come in with people. I have some clients in
hmm.
Texas and some in Washington State and different places, but each time I'm starting from zero, explaining everything, and I'm like, and you pointed out, like, you have a great
Hmm.
place uh, to do this testing. Instagram, TikTok, all of these places.
Yep. Yes, exactly. We can use social media to interact with our clients because, yeah, it's so true. There's people that want to be leaders, and they know they're leaders, and they know that they see the world differently and they want to help. That's really the main hallmark. And then with that, then you essentially begin to start the flow of things, and it's kind of like driving down the highway. Is the vision is you kind of sometimes know where the full destination is, and sometimes it's a little bit blurry, but you kind of generally know to point your car in that direction. But each time you take a step, you are driving the car further down the road, and the vision starts to get more clear. How do you do that? Interfacing with the people that you're trying to help. So a lot of people sit back trying to create websites, trying to create their brand like statements and their philosophies. And to be honest, they get stuck there because we're not creating just for us, we're creating for the world. And so it's us with the world. And if we don't go out and interact
Hmm.
with the world, this is not even the main topic of
Yeah.
our discussion because we're going to talk about money and abundance. But I'm just saying, if we are not interfacing and interacting, putting things out there and getting that feedback, like especially feedback
Exactly.
that's like no one responded, well, hey, that's really important feedback to get. And then keeping it
Hmm.
moving, because then we allow the world to tell us what it
Yes.
needs, and when we can create something much more powerful, and we can create something that people really want to buy. And then you're not, I know for
Selling.
you, you had
Yes.
a thing around being sleazy or being pushy in your marketing and in your sales. Yeah. Whereas when we look at it like that, I am sharing what I do, and there is no hard sales. I'm just going to interface. I'm going to offer you something that I know you
Hmm.
need. You've asked me for it. You told me that you needed it. I got you. Well, then there's really no sleazy sales involved. So I love that you're bringing that up. And of course, with that, the abundance, then it sounds like it's not necessarily
Yes.
the people, but the flow of it, which is a really important thing. And so, where does money come from, right? Money comes from the money comes from the universe. So, money is a construct that we have. Most money exists in electronic form, and if everyone were to go and try to get what they thought they had in the money of what we've all agreed that we have in our bank accounts, we wouldn't have enough actual
Hmm.
hard physical money to give to anybody, and the economy would collapse. It happened in the Depression. So we have the money is actually, because of that, is kind of the
Hmm.
illusion of money, and the reason it works is because we all buy into it. If we all agree that, oh yeah, this is artificial money and we actually don't have it in physical form, well then we couldn't play the game anymore. So since that's true, we have to really watch our thinking around money, because if it is more of an energy currency that we are agreeing upon,
Hmm.
then we can really change our perspective to a much more empowered place, right? So our money that we generate comes from who we are being in the universe, because if the money is flowing from the universe, then who we are, the embodiment of who we are and our identity, then creates the flow or not. Any disalignment in our energy and who we are being then is the
Hmm.
crux of the actual block for money, right? Because otherwise we would think it and it would happen, and we'd think it and it would happen. But if there's more to the story, then that's really important. And so, what are the things that can block the flow of money towards us? Well, if, for example, a
Hmm.
big one is if you don't think you're worthy of money, right? There's lots of mental gremlins that say, I need to work to produce and then I'll be worthy of money. I'm not good enough I don't have the certification, so I can't make the money. All of those belief systems should create kinks in our energy field that then interrupt that flow in the conversation
Hmm.
that says, who I'm being attracts me money and the money comes back. Well, in the process that process is broken is in
Hmm.
the coming back to you. So you're like 75% there, right? But it's the disalignment of the
Yes.
broadcast that's sent
Yes.
out that then creates what comes back, right? Which is why for you, knowing that, I was like, if the disalignment is trying to create a website and you're sitting there going, gosh, I don't know who I'm talking to
Yeah.
yet, I don't know exactly what I want to say yet, I don't know who I'm being yet, then you'll continue to sit there, and that's the energy that'll go out in the universe. Whereas if I once I said, hey, there. She's just
Yeah.
trying to get in front of people. That means you can talk to people in the store. You can create a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You can go on someone else's podcast. You could do this with us and get people visiting your page, right? All of those things, as long as you're then willing to talk to them, will create a lot of that movement, and the flow will then continue more bi-directionally. So movement and action in general is part of the reason that it's
Yes.
both addressing your
Yes.
website
Yes.
problem
Yes.
and I
Yes.
was trying to get you more
Definitely.
money, which is cool. Hmm. So then the flip side of that, right? Where do we focus when we're
Mm-hmm.
asking ourselves to embody wealth consciousness then, right? If we
Mm-hmm.
are opening the gates of money and abundance flow, then
Mm-hmm.
it takes there's some intentionality that it takes there, because a lot of times it's the back and forth and then getting looped
Mm-hmm.
into different stuff that takes us a little bit away from our path. And so with wealth consciousness, we first have to recognize that if it is in when abundance comes to us in response to who we are being, then we have the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity in who we're being much more often than we are seeing. Because a lot of times people are like, I have an opportunity to generate money when I have clients, or when I sell X, or when I do Y. And so they will focus on that. And even when they go to addressing the beliefs, they'll work on their crappy money beliefs. They'll visualize the money coming in. They see the ATM. But the thing is, abundance is more than money, and so is wealth. And so think about it from the universe's perspective. It knows that the way that you get money is not just people paying you directly. You can get gifted it. You could be asked to go on a trip. You could be, there's a million and 10 ways that it perceives abundance. But if we don't align ourselves with that greater vision and allow the universe to gift to us and bless us with those things and actually be in a place of receiving, then we'll get a little bit limited. And even our efforts to visualize and do the
Mm-hmm.
hypnosis and wealth consciousness activities will be less effective, right? So once we open our eyes to abundance, then it can be things like, oh, look how many flowers are on that
Mm-hmm.
tree. Like, that's crazy that nature can create that kind of abundance. Think about the sunshine. Like today, I'm in
Mm-hmm.
Texas. Sunshine this
Mm-hmm.
morning, it was very abundant. Like, I had to put on
Yeah.
sunglasses. You know what I mean? Like, I noted the abundance that's in my life because I understand that that is part of the flow. The more that I accept those things, and that means that we can change our wealth consciousness in a second. I say, I'm grateful for this
Mm-hmm.
abundance
Yes.
of sunlight. I just made myself available for money, right? And that's so cool because our desires then fuel this. Like, for example, your desire for money consciousness and desire for money
Yes.
then created a situation where Megan and I thought to do hot seats, right? You created this scenario, co-created with
Absolutely.
us in the universe, and abundance flowed to you because of that, right? Like, you could get a client from this, you could have people visit your page from this. And so you're putting yourself in that position, and that's what it looks like. So it's much more collaborative, and that means that we have much more opportunity to practice wealth consciousness
Mm-hmm.
than just tipping. Although, I think those are great. Tipping
Yes.
every time I go to the store, those are times to micro practice wealth consciousness, right? Making a
Mm-hmm.
decision of, this feels the
Absolutely.
best to me, not just I'm going to choose the cheapest.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously understanding responsibility in your financial, space. But sometimes I like
Absolutely.
mentally purchase
Yes.
things and then I
I
act
do
really
that too.
excited as
Yes.
if I actually got it.
Totally.
And that
Yeah.
is, yeah, and that's a way to practice while still, yeah, well, yeah, while still not doing consciousness. So that's where you can do visualizations around money, and I do, and I highly recommend it. I also have affirmations. We did that hypnosis in the VIP, and there's a lot more inside our Health Transformation Accelerator program. And that is paired best with living the
Mm-hmm.
kind of life where you actually, it's kind of like praying all the time. You're essentially noting and interacting with abundance around you and increasing and opening up the gates for that flow to happen, right? So you can be grateful for the weather, grateful for that hug that your friend just gave you, the interesting conversation that you just had over dinner. Like, all of those
Mm-hmm.
things become wealth building activities, because
Yes.
if wealth comes from who you are being, all those things are who you are being. And an abundance of love, if you have it to give, can be a really powerful way to change the script. So anytime that I've been really in fear, and hell, I've gone through it, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? I moved across the country, got divorced, all that stuff has happened.
Yes.
And I didn't have actual resource. You know, like
Mhm.
at the time, there were snapshots where the bank account didn't look good, but when I could improve my life
Mhm.
experience drastically and open up the floodgates by who I was
Mhm.
being. So going in the store and being nice to
Mhm.
the checkout person, smiling at the checkout, whatever, just strangers. That I had a lot to give, and that allowed it to flow bi-directionally. I cannot tell you how much faster I got back on my feet after all of that transitional stuff in life than I thought. I mean, everybody practically was like, it takes a couple of years. Statistically, we know within 2, 3 years, people are back to where they started. And
Mhm.
then after
Mhm.
another year or two, they have surpassed it. I'm just about there. So it hasn't been very long. So that's why it sounds so simple. And that's why most people won't do it. They're like, no, really, let me go freak out about my money. But again, if you are not being someone who is abundant in all areas, you will not align with the universe. And since money comes from
Yes.
the
And
universe, you're essentially not
with
aligning
what you
with
were
that
saying, because a
ATM you
lot
want.
of the points that you made, that
Yeah.
because over the years I have taken part in in a number of, I won't say many, but I've taken part in life many times, but and many different types of circumstances and
Hmm.
survival and
I love it.
moments of like just before this um, chat here, this live stream,
Yeah.
like not knowing where things are going to go and just going,
Hmm.
okay, like it looks like I was locked out of my account, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to go into my other account. Okay, I know that whatever happens, it's in alignment for my
Hmm.
best future, my best moment. But at the thing that
Hmm.
the takeaway actually that I it
Hmm.
actually it was me communicating also with the universe, because before I found out about your 3-day success habits training, I was like, okay, I need
Hmm.
to expand. I need to work through another level. Like I have, uh, yeah, and I've gone from like
Here
at
we were.
one point, and now that's like it's amazing how I was just a housewife. Did I cut out? Okay. Okay, no worries.
A little bit,
About
but it was
15
my,
years ago,
it's
I
me,
was at a
but keep
place
going.
and I learned this then. There were two important moments. One of them was, okay, my flow was almost nothing, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna drink a simple thing, drink a cup of coffee in a coffee shop without doing the math of I can buy a 3-in-1 pack and drink
Yeah.
25 cups, or I can buy one in a coffee shop. You know, it was that kind of,
Mm.
this was 15 years ago. Not. And the moment that
Because
I
it's
did that,
not
that
the
very
same.
day, I
Yeah,
came home,
exactly.
I told my husband, I
Right.
was like, this is the thing that I will afford no matter what. Every month, once a month, I'm going to drink coffee in a coffee shop. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to, because it's not in my nature to do the math of that kind of thing. But the people that I often have around me are very much focused on
Hmm.
that. And so it was me regaining my power,
Hmm.
coming back
Yep.
to that. And then the other point was probably about 10
Yeah.
years ago when I began a new life for myself. And after many different, like, step
Hmm.
into the clouds, don't know where the ground is, but it will appear when you need it moments. And
Yeah.
I had the realization, I had started a new job, and my paycheck and my rent were like 2 weeks different. Like my rent was due, and then 2 weeks later I got paid, and I freaked out.
Hmm.
I was just like, oh my God,
Yep.
like, because
Hmm.
I mean, and then I went, wait a minute, what's the worst thing that could happen? Okay, they'll throw you out on the street. And I was like, will they throw a person like you who has full intention of paying their rent? No, and nothing ever happened. And then from that moment, I gained that. So in these steps, I have gained. But the one thing
Hmm.
that I realized in this week that the universe aligned me with you and Megan for the success habits training, And then the
Mm-hmm.
VIP, which I had no plan of doing, but it was just like, okay, universe,
Mm-hmm.
I see it.
Yeah.
You're inviting me, and if I
Yeah.
don't take
Do it.
this, there's
Yeah.
a story that somebody told me once, where someone's drowning in the middle of the sea, and they say, God, I want God to save me. And this big ship is coming by, and they're like trying to save him, and he's like, no, 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 I want God to save me. And it's like, so these moments, and
I
then
love this.
yeah, and so then, and
I
I
love
right
that
in this time I
parable.
began
Yeah.
to meditate, which I've never been able to, like, squirrel
Mm-hmm.
mind all over the place, gremlin voices, all of
Yeah.
that. And I started,
Mm-hmm.
I had done like 2 days of meditation, and then I saw
Nice.
you guys' thing and I joined that. And all of these things have happened. And then with the takeaways that I
Yep.
took from the VIP 3 day session, or three sessions, I actually
Mm-hmm.
have two
Mm-hmm.
clients who I am now mentoring. And I have
Amazing. Oh,
actually,
amazing.
I was trying to post it like 2 hours before this, but managed to post it right before a reel where I actually had my first meditation with no music, no assisted anything. And it was just like, oh, I haven't felt this
Mm.
feeling since I was a little girl. And it was like, and being, because of the things
Yeah, it's like
that
for
you
free,
guys
right?
helped me see, was like, I think what I was doing is like seeing this great finished
Mm.
picture, and I'm good at doing that, but not being like enough in this moment and going and
Yeah.
really and being, yeah, and being an empath. I've always
Embodying it.
focused on what everybody else is feeling, and in this past few years, it's been like, okay, you're not feeling your own feelings
Mm-hmm.
because it's it's an escape to help other people. But now it's been like the coming together of two worlds that you guys like were part of it, and it's really awesome because I watch you guys. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll say this too: you look like a
Yeah. That's
completely
awesome.
different person than 2 or 3 years
Doing
ago.
it. Mm-hmm.
You're like 10 years off of,
I
I
think
mean,
so
who's
too,
talking
right? I
age
mean,
anyway, but like literally your whole everything. I just want to say that was when I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm ready to work with these ladies,
yes,
for
thank you.
both you and Megan.
Yeah, this transformation stuff's really real, right? Like people talk about it
Wow.
all the time. They're like, "You're different now," and that was like just a year. And that's what we say. It's like, yeah, anybody can help you transform. There's a lot of people that do that. We're just going to tell you how
Yes.
to do it faster so that you can actually create the life that
Mm-hmm.
you want, right? That's the whole key here, and it can be done. And yeah, and here's the thing, it'll permeate every single part of your life because I don't do fancy treatments. Like someone asked me the other day what I do, and I'm like, my favorite thing,
Yes.
honey and baking soda mixed together. Amazing. But like, no, I don't do any other stuff.
Yes.
The translation of me changing my identity shows up for everything from my bank account to my car to my face to my clothes. I
Yes.
mean, lots of stuff changed. So yeah, let's talk about goals then as part of that because if
Yes.
we're talking
Yes.
about the universal flow and who we're being, we have very different goals, right? Because one is first we understand that we have to set goals. If we are working collaboratively with the universe, and that includes the other people that are waiting and praying for us to give them the help that they need, right? They are asking for it. Then we first have to set the GPS
Mm-hmm.
for where
Yes.
we're
Yes.
going. So we have to have the courage to set goals, first of all, right? And to be clear on what that means. Now, the time component is a little bit tricky for people, and that's where I have people really feel into this, where we use our emotional compass and say, if I
Mm-hmm.
interject time, can I have a light-handed approach to it? And I would say for someone struggling with that time of like, I need
Mm-hmm.
it now, I need it in a year, it needs to happen in a year, I'm a failure. I would write goals from a perspective of what do I want to experience in my life? And I would literally write like 1,000. I would challenge you to write 5,000. What do you want to see? What do you want to hear? Who do you want to meet? Who do you want to
Yes.
date? What do you want
Yes.
to eat? Where do you want to go? What kind of
Mm-hmm.
book do you want to read? What kind of hotel do you want to stay in? Write them all down and write it why you want them. because that will put you
Yes,
powerfully
yes.
into that embodied state. And every time you read it, which I highly recommend consistently, is like my whole life. This is what it's not a wish list. It's I'm crafting this life and this is what I'm calling in, and all of the abundance is there and all the fun's there and the joy and the connection and the love, all of it begins to build. So if you're struggling with time and in the goal component, that can often get you out of that. However, as you become more empowered, you will have the strength and the power to say, I'm going to set this goal knowing that it is unknown, and I'm going to approach it with flexibility and
Yeah.
curiosity. Because honestly, you can say, I'm going to make $1 million by the end of
Yes.
this year. What if the universe could get that done in 3 months? You know, can we set that and say, I'm going to be open for 3 months? I'm going to be open for 2 years. Because what if the ship that I'm leading, the people that are going to be on there aren't ready in 3 months? They're not ready in a year. But because I don't know that, I'm not going to pigeonhole myself in that. And so the way that I do it is I have
Mm-hmm.
Megan and I have quarterly goals, also personal quarterly goals. Then I have year goals,
Mm-hmm.
and greater, I have 5 year goals and 10 year goals. And the purpose of each of those is that I have reasonably picked them for, based on how I feel, which one I think is the most appropriate. But I do have the understanding, then I go into it with the intentionality of, when I put these goals
Mm-hmm.
down, I understand that I have a light touch. So I say, yeah, it'd be nice by this
Yes.
year. But if it happens tomorrow, boom, I win the lottery, great.
Mm-hmm.
Or in 13 months, that's going to be okay too, right? And so as you develop that, but that there's more of a tolerance for the unknown and a tolerance for
Mm-hmm.
keeping yourself
Mm-hmm.
steady when you're on a boat and you're in the ocean, right? And it's rocking. When you begin to create more power in that, more of
Mm-hmm.
the rocking. And that's why interjecting time into the goals there, that can be the way to do it. And so with ultimately we end up with SMART goals, where you do set a date, you practice visualizing dropping the goal into the timeline on that date, you do actually embody it, you do act as such, you align your daily actions and habits with it. And
Yes.
then also you understand that that is a flexible moving target. So with goals and time, that's kind of how I like to play at it. And really, the brain and the subconscious translates images into real time world, because you have to, like we talked about in the training, you have to pare down the information coming in. If you took in every background thing, every color, every
Yeah.
light, every sensation in your skin on clothes, you just go insane. So we have to filter it out. So you will set the filter and run it the whole time based on localizing it to that vision of who you're being. And then the universe will have so many opportunities to shower you with that abundance. Understand that what you're seeing today is a snapshot of what you created in the past. So if you say, well, today I'm being this,
Mm-hmm.
why isn't it here? You're mismatching the concept of times, right? And since time, just like money, is more of an illusionary thing, but we still have to play with it. We have to understand what's happening. Otherwise, time will bug
Mm-hmm.
us, right? It's not an illusion when your rent's due. So I'm a big fan of like honesty and authenticity for that. And so we merge it together. So with goals and time, that's the
Yes.
way that I love to do it. And let's talk about the unknown real quick, right? Their empowered leaders have resources to tolerate and handle and move themselves through unknowns. Because one, we don't have certain guarantees in life, and two, we are so dominant in our participation of it that we determine it as we go, and then other people also
Yes.
have
Yes.
their free will and they determine it as they go, right? And so I love what you were saying, like you were like, you change your journey, you're like, I normally wouldn't have done this, but if I be this kind of person, let's
Mm-hmm.
see what happens. Because that you said, I don't know the future, but I can have a hand in creating it if I actually participate and I say, I'm investing in myself. Then, boom, you just attracted two other
Yes.
people that invest in themselves. So the universe even doubled it for you. And then Every time you go and do that and make a decision, that's exactly what's going to happen as long as you're doing it from that space. So the unknown becomes a lot less known when we understand the role that we get to play
Yes.
and actually tell ourselves a story that empowers that. Yeah. So it's saying, I will determine the clients. I will determine how much I charge. I will determine that. Now, you're not alone in that, but you do have a lot of power. So, acknowledging and standing in that power is a cool thing about the unknown. The flip side of that is that there are some situations where you really just don't know how it's going to go, right? And you aren't going to know until it gets there, and you just have to wait. But we don't leave that alone because honestly, the things that the mental gremlins do in that time can be incredibly damaging. It's not the thing to kind of let go of and just say, hey, I'm going to wait for it to unfold. Because if you are part and parcel and co-creating with it, it's not a good idea to leave yourself unattended and the freaking out of waiting for something to be known, right? I didn't actually know how divorce stuff was going to go, but I needed to be in an empowered state so that when I had the opportunities to impact what I could, I took them instead of melting down and crying in bed, which is, I did do that a lot, but the, it wasn't all the time. And so, with that, how do we get resourced enough to wait? Well, that looks like being both the inner child that is experiencing the waiting process and having a problem with it, and the parent that is understands the bigger picture and understands the perspective of I am creating a future that has not been created yet, right? And so, how does one do that? Because it's hard to throw the temper tantrum as a kid and also support yourself as the adult at the same time. But you can do it, and it's easier, much easier to do it in sequence. So, what does this look like? It looks like actually sitting down and journaling on the process of when I am disappointed by the expectations that I had. I said 3 months, and now it is 3 months and one day, and I still don't have what I want, right? Or it's 2 months in and it's not looking good. What do I do? You're basically creating a protocol for yourself that says, how will I help my inner child get expressed and supported? And then how do I allow my inner and higher self to lead me and be supported in doing so? So this journaling exercise looks like, what do I need to do the temper tantrum? With kids during temper tantrums, are you supposed to interject and do a life lesson during the temper tantrum? No, no, right? Because they can't hear you. That's the time for support. So ask yourself, what does it look like for me to actually not gaslight myself, to really give myself a valid voice? It's it's scary not having money. It's scary not knowing when the next client's going to come. It's scary not knowing how you're going to pay your bills. It feels terrifying. So honestly, to lie about that and to say, "Oh, let me just work on my mindset and slap on some positivity," it ain't it. And so we have to say, how do I really acknowledge and give validity to the experience that I'm having because it is true for me, right? So that's going to be the first part of that, and really eliciting answers from yourself and being willing to try things out. Whatever your mind comes up with, being like, sure, I'll try it out. And if you like it, keep doing it. And if you don't like it, you don't have to do it that way in the future. So that's one piece of it. And then the next piece comes down to, okay, then once I'm vented out doing that, once I have expressed, once I allowed the emotion to move me, then what is, what am I, what's my understanding from all of this as it happened? Because it may be, what does our emotional compass point us towards? Doing things differently, maybe realizing that a coping strategy or a strategy that we used to do isn't working anymore. Maybe it's I need to have a discussion with somebody. Maybe I need to set a boundary. Maybe I need to try a new plan. Maybe I need to stop doing that thing. I don't know, but there's a reason that you had that temper tantrum. And so your parent is going to be the one to learn what that and garner what it actually is. What is it pointing you towards? What do you need? And that really question is, how can I feel supported throughout this process? How do I create support for myself? And that may mean asking for help from people, it might mean hiring mentors. A lot of things can happen, but that's the magic of taking the unknown, using our emotional compass, giving ourselves leeway to be authentic and actually embody who we are. Because the who you are and the one that's attracting money from the universe is also sometimes negative because that's authentic to you, right? So it is your authenticity that attracts. And so having a moment where you give yourself the freedom to really acknowledge what's going on for you and to have those emotions, incredibly powerful. Some of my most notable face melting cry sessions on the
Yeah.
ground of my bathroom
Yes.
were then followed by influxes of money. It's fascinating. And I had to prove to myself just how
Yeah.
much authenticity was how I made money, not just positivity making money. And so in inventing it out and then getting the lesson, getting what do I want to make this mean? How do I want to look at this? And then again, using our emotional compass. Which story do I tell myself that empowers me the most? And that may not be the fully done story where you're like, I'm the most
Mm.
abundant person on the planet and money flows to me so easily because maybe you're not there yet. But maybe it looks like I'm getting better and better at managing my money. I'm more and more confident each day that I can help people on this planet, right? Having narratives like that that are believable and don't overstep, then to really make sure that this is happening, you know? And so, anyways, this is all exactly, you know, in line with what you're saying. And I love that you are letting the experiences come up because you are taking full advantage of the unknown. You're being who you're being by taking action. But then the universe then gets to bring more things that align with you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really, really easy to tell which one that is, right? Because you didn't have to think about it a long time. That's a clue
Yeah.
that you are in alignment, is
The
that you know it
the
and you
one
went and you
the
did
one
it.
thing that you said
No
also
questions
that I
asked, right?
hadn't made
Okay.
this connection, but I see because I already have experienced this, but not with making money, but actually with attracting my husband, the love of my
Hmm.
life. So what I did before that was because
Yeah.
I was at the time I was
Oh,
single
amazing.
and I was in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Santa Fe like
Hmm.
is known for not having very many men, and it was like perfect place for me to really find myself and like find my strength. Yeah, really. Yeah. I mean, like I was
You're like,
waiting
let me go over there. Yeah.
for somebody to come pick me up, and some lady looks at me and she goes, "Are you single in Santa Fe too?" And I was like, "What do I have it written on my head?" She's like, "All the beautiful women are single in Santa Fe." And so then it just made me, and I was like, yeah, yes, I am. And chosen this. I've chosen to be this. It was really good for me. But then once I started to kind of feel grounded and like, okay, maybe, because I went through a period of time that it was like, I do not need a man. I don't need anything. I am going to make money and travel the world and do
Hmm.
whatever I want. Having a partner like will just hinder me. But
Hmm.
then I started thinking, yeah,
Sure. I love that it was
yeah.
like
And so
great.
then
Thanks for
I
your
started, yeah,
in authentic plan. We're gonna go ahead
yeah,
because I know how the
yeah.
story
And
ends.
so,
So
yeah,
obviously it
no,
was.
and so like knowing that side of it, I was like, well, I don't need that. So then I was like, I started thinking, well, but what happens when I'm lonely one day?
Yep.
Because, that is something that is probable after a while. And I was like, oh, but okay, let me be prepared. I started asking everyone that I saw, happy married couples, happy in love people, whatever, like, how did you know? What did you do
Hmm.
beforehand? Blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like, well, you have to figure out first what you want and who you want. It's just exactly what you're saying with the financial side. But I never actually gave myself the permission. But with
Hmm.
love, I
Yep.
did take that. I sat for
Hmm.
4 days.
And that's beautiful because if you do it all at once. That's what I was saying was there's so many
every
opportunities for abundance. If you don't just do it with money, but do it with everything that you want to experience, you need
and
to have money to experience it. The
exactly.
money will be in, and now you don't exclude money goals from it. But yes, exactly what you're saying. It's so true because
Yeah,
you
well,
focus on
because
money
like
or you focus on love
because
and
at
then what
that
happens?
point in my life, like the money was not an issue. I had my house, everything that I wanted in my house, even like I had
Hmm.
thought about, like now looking back, I can understand why I did that, understanding like with looking at north and south nodes, what our soul wants. I could see then that like being a Taurus south node, I had invested everything in my house, but then that's what made me start because everything, I had all of the material things. But then I started to realize that,
Hmm.
well, if there is a day that I uh, end up wanting to share my life with somebody, what do I want? I don't want to fall in love with the wrong person. Like I've built so many things and I've got this abundant flow in my life. Um, and so I started writing in a journal, and I wrote for 4 days, and it ended up being 4 pages long. And each day I would add to it, like, I want a man who is blah, 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 blah. I want a man. And I went down to details of, like, I mean, it's interesting when you're
Yeah.
actually being authentic and really tuning into what it is, you not from your brain, but from your heart
Hmm.
space. It makes no sense
It
why I'm
sure
saying
is.
this, but I wrote it. And then one of the things I wrote is, I don't want a rich man. I want a man who will become rich with me because I don't want to feel extra. I want to be, I want to know that we grew together. I don't want to ever doubt my worth. And like it was strange at the time. Now I can look back at it and I can see all of the growth that I've gone through and all of these different
And you
things.
just went with it.
Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, it's really powerful when you can actually show up. And 4 days after that of writing 4 page, my husband wrote me. We met online, and he had added me 6 months before, but I was just like not. I didn't want to talk to any man at that point in time, and then he says hello to me 4 days after that, and I'm not connecting anything, but we like start chatting, and we chat for 9 months, and he like didn't flirt, and he didn't like he was
Oh my
so
gosh.
different and had everything that I had on that 4 pages. So now you've inspired me and made me connect it that this
Ditto.
is the same
You
thing.
know, I can say I would, yeah. Yeah. If now this time you're being asked to take it to a higher level, when you did it, you proved to yourself that you did
Now,
it with the one topic in life. See what it looks like to blow it out and see yourself expand as an
mm-hmm.
identity in all areas of your life. Who are you going to be
Yes,
across the
yes.
board? Make that list. Now see what
Uh,
happens because it's going to be amazing, and we'll have to do a
that's
repeat follow up
really exciting
here
too.
on
And for you
the
to
on a
put
live,
that
and you
like
can tell
that,
us
yeah, I
how it
would
went.
love to. For
Thank
you
you
to
so
say
much.
it,
Yeah. Thank
yeah.
you for the badge.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I just wanted
Yeah,
someone just got a badge. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
so,
Okay,
yeah, the connection
Stella.
was just a little wonky there
Oh,
for a
sorry.
moment.
Did I cut you off?
Um, but yeah,
Oh, God.
that viewpoint, especially being a manifesting generator, because everything that I am working on, it actually is for a big picture. It's for showing up in me in all of the facets, and you're putting it that way. I really appreciate that. And I would,
Exactly. Yeah, perfect. It's funny how it aligns, right?
exactly. And I've
When you were
been
ready
following you guys
for
for like
us,
quite some
here we
time.
popped out.
Well, and it's like to watch you guys, yeah, and to connect, and that you're in Dallas. I just learned that. And so, yeah, so I might be
Yeah, I
seeing you there
know.
soon.
I know. So fun. Yeah, exactly. I know. Lots of transformation. Yeah, I'm excited to see you here. All right. Well, it's going to boot us off here for Instagram, but those of you coming on, Just a reminder, this is going to be going on the podcast. It'll be published tomorrow, though. Go on, search Zesty Ginger wherever you listen to podcasts, and go back and check out the 3-part training that Stella was just talking about if you missed it. And then also go check out zestyginger.com/transform. It's the pinned right there. You can see basically in this live coaching, we were breaking down parts of the 7 steps for transformation and applying them. And so our Health Transformation Accelerator, now that name is changing because it's not just for health, but the that those 12 weeks break down the 7 steps in that sequential format. So you can see about how that works on that page, zestyginger.com/transform. And then the other side is that at the bottom, you can see videos from people who have gone through it and their experience. So you can actually see the transformations there. And finally, you can also reach out to us, shoot us an email, support@zestyginger, because what we have is people that have gone through the program who are willing to hop on the phone and answer any questions that you have. We get that it's, one thing coming from Megan and I, because we made it, obviously, we think it's great. But we wanted to give y'all the experience of talking to the people who have gone through it firsthand. And we don't tell them what to say. We're not on there. Like, we have no control over that. They're just going to tell you what their experience has been like, and you're going to hear about how it goes and get all your questions answered. Okay. So if you're interested, but still have concerns, whether it's a good fit for you, whether it's right, all of that, just shoot us an email and we'll get you all taken care of. Yeah, you're welcome, Krista. I'm excited to see you inside HTA.
Yes.
I know you'll be joining us. Okay. Any other
Thank you.
questions from anyone else
Thank you
here?
too.
And if not, thank you so much,
Yeah.
Stella. This was lovely. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
bringing that. Thank you for being vulnerable
I'm
and sharing.
inspired to come back with
It
the
does
follow-up
an amazing
because
service to
I'm
everybody here.
definitely
So strong
here
work.
for the, for the,
Yeah, I'm so
yes,
excited.
the upgrades and all of that. So
The results.
mm,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's a good place to leave off on, Stella. Thank you for bringing that up. I would say we all deserve to create the kind of life that we want to live. And if you right now are questioning whether you deserve it, I'm here to tell you, yes. You deserve to have a life that feels good, that is joyful, that is abundant, that has all the wealth that you want.
yes.
That is actually what you deserve and what life should be like. So if that's not the case, find out, and learn how to transform. So check out zestyginger.com/transform. And we are always here to help and always here to guide. And obviously you see a lot of what happens with us. And it's a good time. So we want
Yes.
everybody to be
Yes.
joining us over on this side of the empowerment plan journey.
All right. Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you
All
again.
right. Well,
Bye.
everybody have a good day.
I found the Zesty Ginger Girls in my search online to figure out what was going on with some hormone imbalances and fertility issues that I was having. And I joined their Healthy Hormones group, learned so much, made so many strides in my health and my cycle, and just learned a lot of different tools and things that I could use. And then when they came out with their HTA program, I joined their HTA program, and I learned that so much more of what I was missing was the subconscious part. The subconscious is in control of almost everything that we do. And I learned so many tools for reprogramming my subconscious, letting go of limiting beliefs, and started dropping things in my timeline and watching them come to fruition. And one of our sessions dropped a baby in my timeline, and realized a few months later that I was pregnant. So anything is possible when you tell your unconscious mind what it is that you want, and you have the tools to help reprogram it and support yourself into getting to where it is that you want to be. And that was a pretty amazing experience for me, and realization. It was pretty powerful. So anything is possible.
Thanks for coming out to hang with us on the podcast. It is our goal to transform the way women are treated in healthcare. And we need your help. We need your help to get the word out. We have a lofty goal of 1 million downloads. And we know that as this podcast grows, we're going to be able to reach more women, get more amazing speakers for you, and bring the most cutting edge information.
If you found these podclasses helpful, please take a moment to text 5 women you know the link to the series. We appreciate your help so much. Can't wait to see you next time.